Time for another mailbag here on Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones here with you to answer the questions that you have this week. And you may be wondering, how do I take part in the mailbag shows? Well, we do them each and every week on our live shows. And here's why you need to subscribe to Seahawks Today. We have Seahawks videos every day, live shows each and every week, Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. We are so interactive. We love hanging out with the 12s every day on the channel. And the more subscribers that we have, the more we can grow this channel and keep this thing on going and provide you guys more content. Best part about it, it's all free. So why would you not subscribe? If you love the Seahawks, you want more Seahawks coverage, subscribe now. We'll get started with today's show. Still Flying says, would you trade up to get Will Anderson? It all depends on what I would have to give up potentially. I don't like the idea of giving up the number 20 pick. To me, it's very rare when you have 2 first-round picks. And to me, this is a unique circumstance, a unique opportunity for Seattle to have those 2 first-round picks. It would just all depend. Do I have to give up 20 to move up to get Will Anderson? I don't know. I love Will Anderson. If you've been watching this show for a while, you guys know that he is my favorite player in this draft. But I just don't know about the idea of giving up 2 first-round picks to do it, if that makes sense. I want to know, what's your dream draft target for Seattle? Is it Will Anderson? Is it Bryce Young? C.J. Stroud? Who is your dream draft target for the Seahawks? Let us know in the comments section below. Matthew writes, if Clint Hurt is fired, who do we get as our defensive coordinator? Clint Hurt, I think, will not be fired at this point. Today, is Wednesday at the time that we're taping this, and the Seahawks season ended on Saturday. I think they would have moved on from him by now. But the number one name that comes to mind is right there internally, in-house, Sean Desai, moving up. He's been looked at for a number of jobs already, potentially as a defensive coordinator elsewhere. He's well respected. Seahawks fans love what he brings to the table. I think that's the direction they'd lean, to some in-house internally promote Sean Desai to be defensive coordinator. But I think Clint Hurt's going to be back despite how disappointing the defense was. Mark writes, gross thought. Do you think Lamar Jackson might end up with the Rams? They're always trading for star players. No, I don't see Lamar Jackson ending up with the Rams because they don't have the draft capital. They don't have the guys to make such move to bring Lamar over to Los Angeles. That can't be done for this Rams team. So, yeah, that sounds like something that would be up their alley, but this just doesn't work. The math does not add up for the Rams to make a move like that. Click wants to know, I think Noah Fant could break out next year and be a top 5 tight end. I had high hopes for Noah Fant this year. I thought he was going to take that next step this past season, and it just didn't happen. He's got a lot of raw talent, a lot of athleticism that he brings to the table, but it just didn't happen for Noah Fant this year. And so with that, I don't have the confidence that he will take that next step because if it was going to happen, it should have happened this year, and it didn't. I like him. I think that there's a lot of good things about Noah Fant, but the fact that he didn't take this step this past year does not make me confident about his future being a top 5 tight end. Jersey says, what's the best scenario at pick number 5? The best scenario is that Will Anderson falls at a number 5 or Jalen Carter falls to the Seahawks at number 5. I think that's your best case scenario for this team. And, we did a mock draft earlier this week, and the simulations, if you'd go to a simulator like what Pro Football Focus has or the Draft Network or all these, and of your consensus top 5, which in no particular order for me, is Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, Miles Murphy, C.J. Stroud, and Bryce Young. In almost every one of these simulated mock drafts, somebody in that 5 is available for Seattle there. And so in an ideal world, you just take whatever is available, and somebody good is still going to fall your lap. Today's show is presented by BetUS, the exclusive sportsbook partner of Chat Sports. Go to chatsports.com/bet, enter the promo code Seahawks125. You'll get a 125% deposit bonus. Put $100 down, you get $125 to spend for free at chatsports.com/bet. You can bet on NFL action this weekend. You can also bet on NBA, college basketball, and the 125% deposit bonus. You put $100 down, you get $125 to spend for free. It's like buying a pizza and then getting another pizza and then a couple extra slices for free. It's a great deal. Sign up today, chatsports.com/bet, promo code Seahawks125. Gil Turner writes, could J.J. Watt come out of retirement and sign with the Seahawks? Gil, that's an interesting question. J.J. Watt had a great career, and he retired saying that he knows that he still has some football left in him at this point in time, that he feels like that he can still play at a high level, and he's walking away from the game content, put it that way. And I know Arizona's a mess and everything with that organization. I think there's really only one team that J.J. Watt would come back and play for, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers, where both of his brothers are at. And I think that would be pretty badass. That'd be awesome if he did play with his brothers in Pittsburgh. But I don't see him coming back to Seattle and joining this team or anyone other than Pittsburgh at this point. I wouldn't rule out the possibility of J.J. Watt coming out of retirement, but I don't think it's to play for Seattle. I think it's Pittsburgh or it's no one else. But we'll see. He still has a lot of time to potentially change his decision between now and when the season starts next year. Remember, Tom Brady changed his decision within 40 days and decided to come back. Should the Seahawks sign J.J. Watt? What do you think? If he was available and wanted to come out of retirement, would you like to see J.J. in Seattle? If so, type Y for yes. If not, type in for no. Let me know what you're thinking in the comment section. Y for yes, in for no if you would want to sign J.J. Watt. Duke wants to know, should Seattle sign a wide receiver in free agency? Potentially. The guy I really like is Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers is going to be a free agent, the wide receiver from the New England Patriots. You also have, in this free agent period, Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be a free agent. McCole Hardman is going to be a free agent. The wide receiver market isn't as good as it was last year, but there are some guys available. And I think the Seahawks are still trying to find their number 3 receiver. There's a significant gap when you go beyond DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. But I would more so like to see them draft and go that route for that number 3 receiver. But I wouldn't rule out the possibility of them finding it through free agency. Next question. Geno, 3 years, $70 million with $60 million guaranteed. First year, $35 million with $30 guaranteed. Second year, $25 million with $20 guaranteed, and last year is $10 million and fully guaranteed. By then, he might be letting the new quarterback thrive in the end. Thoughts? Okay, there's a lot to break down there. But to put it simply, 3 years, $70 million with $60 guaranteed. That number does seem a bit high from the projections that we have kind of talked about, that we've showed you from Sporting News and others. I think the number that Seattle is looking at for Geno is the $20 to $25 million range at this point. The longer it goes, though, if you let him go to the open market, there's enough desperate teams that that price could go up potentially. So I would love to reward Geno. I think he's done a hell of a job this past season, but that number might be a little bit high. Part of the reason you moved on from Russell Wilson was you don't want to pay a quarterback a whole lot of money, in all honesty. So I don't know about that. The great one, Mark Sanchez, checks back in with a $20 super chat. Oh, I honestly think that 3 quarterbacks will be taken to the top 5, but we won't be one of those teams. Teams that are desperate for a QB overreach in the draft, Trubisky, Rosen, Gabbert, etc., leaving us with Carter or Anderson. That'd be awesome. That'd be great if it worked out the way it did. You guys know what I've said for quite some time, that Will Anderson is my number 1 choice. I like Jalen Carter, number 2. But if both those guys are gone and C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young are still available, then I'm going C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young if those two are gone. If you can end up with one of those four with that 5 pick, I think you're cooking with bacon grease at that point. You're feeling pretty good. G writes in, I think Jamal Adams should move to linebacker next season and we draft or sign another safety. That could happen. With the way Ryan Neal came along, and I think Pro Football Focus had him as one of the top-rated safeties this year, that could make sense and get Ryan Neal more playing time. Quandre Diggs, you still have around, of course, and Jamal Adams, I just don't know if I can trust his health, what exactly he brings to the table. If you bring him to linebacker, I would put it this way. Don't get your hopes up. Don't get too excited necessarily just because we haven't been able to trust Jamal Adams to be healthy out there. True or false? The Seahawks should move Jamal Adams to linebacker. What do you guys think? T for true, F for false. Let me know in the comment section below. Alex Tyler writes, will Shane Waldron get a head coaching job this offseason? I don't think so. His name has not come up at all for other jobs. Hasn't interviewed for anything. I think he's a very good offensive coordinator. I think he will be a head coach one day, but it doesn't look like this go-around is his time, that there's other coaches that are being looked at for said jobs right now. Alex, it's a good question, but barring something changing drastically, it seems like that Shane Waldron is going to be back in Seattle's OC next year. Any free agent linebackers the Seahawks could sign? I don't know if they necessarily go the linebacker route, but I do like defensive linemen. That's who I'm watching for in particular for Seattle, of what they could bring to the table with Daron Payne, with Marcus Davenport. Those are guys I'm looking at. Linebacker, you got Edmonds, the linebacker from the Bills. There's a couple other guys there, but I don't know if they spend money at linebacker necessarily, but I could see them spending on the defensive line as far as that goes. So thanks for joining us here on another Mailbag show. You can follow me on social media, Tyler Jones Live, and we will see you next time right here on Seahawks Today. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We got you covered. All your draft insights, free agency, and trades. This is the place to be. If you love your Seattle Seahawks, subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV.